The Brothel of Shadows. I always thought the rumors about Rome's slums were nothing more than exaggerations, stories meant to scare young noblewomen like me. But that night, I learned that there are places where the shadows run deeper and the secrets darker than any legend might suggest. It's strange to remember how I ended up there, in the brothel, alone and scared, trapped in a world that wasn't my own. It was a summer night, and the stifling heat of Rome clung to my skin like a layer of sweat. I had escaped from the palace, overwhelmed by the bustle of banquets and intrigues that seemed to suffocate me. I wanted to breathe the city air, to feel free, even if only for a few hours. I walked aimlessly through the cobbled streets, letting myself be carried away by the music and laughter coming from the taverns. I don't know exactly how I got there. My steps led me to a dark alley, a passage that wound between old buildings. The air was thick, and the smell of incense and cheap wine hung in the air. In front of me, a half-open wooden door let out a dim light. There was something about that place that attracted me, as if an invisible force was inviting me to cross the threshold. The brothel was almost empty. Only a few figures moved in the dim light, human silhouettes blending into the shadows. As I entered, a woman looked at me from her seat by the entrance. Her face was tired and her eyes empty, as if life had long since left her. She did not speak to me, but her lips formed a crooked smile when she saw me, as if she recognized that I did not belong there. "You shouldn't be here," he finally said in a raspy voice. "This is no place for a lady." I didn't answer, but something in his tone made me uneasy. There was a heaviness in the air, a sense of danger that made me want to turn and run. But my curiosity got the better of me. I went deeper into the brothel, where the rooms were separated by curtains of threadbare fabric. I could hear whispers and muffled moans, but there was an underlying silence, a void that seemed to devour all sound. I walked down the main hallway until I came to a room in the back. The oil lamp hanging from the ceiling cast a yellowish light that barely illuminated the room. There, in a corner, I saw a woman sitting on a divan, a red robe slipping from her shoulders. Her dark hair fell in messy locks, and her face was covered by a veil that barely allowed her bright eyes to be seen. I moved closer, as if hypnotized. When I was close enough, the woman looked up and smiled. I felt a chill run down my spine. There was something in her eyes, an unnatural gleam that made me flinch. But before I could react, she spoke in a low, melodic voice. "I was waiting for you, Messalina," he said. My name on his lips sounded like a whisper from beyond the grave. I froze. How did he know my name? No one in that place could recognize me, I was sure of that. I tried to take a step back, but my feet wouldn't respond. It was as if an invisible force kept me anchored to the ground. "Rome has its secrets," the woman continued, "and you are about to discover one of the oldest." Suddenly, the oil lamp began to flicker, and the shadows in the room seemed to come to life, dancing on the walls. The woman on the couch slowly rose, and the veil fell from her face. What I saw filled me with terror. Her skin was pale and translucent, as if she were not flesh and bone, but a specter trapped in a human body. Her eyes shone with a radiance that did not belong to this world. "Long ago, I too was a lady," she said. "And like you, I ventured beyond my bounds. This brothel is older than you imagine. It is built on the ruins of an ancient temple, a place where the living and the dead meet. Those who cross this threshold bear the mark of the shadows forever." As she spoke, the shadows in the room seemed to grow denser, as if they were closing in on me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out of my mouth. The woman reached out a hand, and when her icy fingers brushed my skin, I felt as if she were ripping my soul out. At that moment, everything went dark. I collapsed on the floor, and my vision faded into gloom. I don't know how much time passed, but when I woke up, the brothel was empty. The oil lamp was still lit, but the place was absolutely silent. The woman had disappeared, and the curtains in the rooms were gently moving in the breeze. I staggered to my feet and ran out, not daring to look back. The alleys of Rome seemed endless as I searched for the exit, and I didn't stop until I reached the palace, my heart pounding in my chest. Years later, I still don't know if what I saw was real or an illusion, but ever since that night, there's something different about me. In the shadows, I sometimes feel like someone is watching me, and in the silence, I hear whispers calling my name. Even though I try to forget it, I always carry with me the feeling that the brothel didn't let me go completely. Something from that dark, ancient place stayed with me, like an invisible mark that I can never erase.